is just fantastic.
Captain's Log, Subdate 2108-25.4. We'll be docking with a supply ship in 3 days, so I've got my security team doing drills to seize the vessel quietly while negotiations commence in my ready room. For the subject we're going to discuss today, I had noticed after seeing an article on the BBC that it is also trending on Twitter. There is a fair amount to unpack with it, but I'm going to do my best to, let's go with, give you the Cliff's Notes. If you grew up in the 80s and 90s, or are a fan of music, you might have heard of this little-known band called Nirvana. More notably, you might have heard of the album Nevermind. It is their most successful album to date, for obvious reasons. There are a couple reasons why that album in particular stands out. I am not going to show you one of those reasons because it's the album cover. The other is because of a few songs on it. And the reason I can't show you the album cover even if I censor it is because of that recent YouTube warning I received. I personally am not a fan of Nirvana. Many consider them the most notable name from the grunge era. I never cared for grunge. I thought it was rubbish. But there is a small modicum of respect I have for Kurt Cobain, the frontman, because he, like I, is a lefty, and that makes me exceptionally happy. Part of me always considered getting his signature Jaguar by Fender, but it is quite expensive. Regardless of whether you like or hate Nirvana, no doubt you will have heard of Nevermind. The cover itself features an infant underwater, swimming towards, or implying that he is swimming towards, a dollar bill on a hook. It is quite distinctive, it has featured on a lot of merch, which isn't a surprise. Anything Nirvana can be turned into something for dollar. I guess the album cover's a little ironic. Somewhat interestingly, in 2016, after having recreated the picture on the album's 10th anniversary, 17th anniversary and 20th anniversary, Spencer Eldon, who was the child in the picture back then, recreated it for its 25th anniversary. The original photo was taken by Kirk Weddle, and interestingly, Kirk Weddle is in fact a friend of Spencer's father. For these photos, Spencer Eldon received £154 every single time. The reason why is because that's how much his parents received for the first one. For an album that sold over 30 million copies, I'm impressed they didn't push for a zero to be added to the end of it. There are other people involved in the recreation of that album cover, or even the creation itself, but we're going to get to those in a moment. So perhaps now we should address why Nirvana is trending on Twitter now. The reason why is because Spencer Eldon, now 30, is suing 17 people. We know this from a LA federal court lawsuit that has been filed by Spencer Eldon, and those 17 defendants are interesting. We'll get to some of those in a moment. He is suing each and every one of them for $150,000, which is $2,550,000. The reason why is because he believes that the album and those involved, and the fact it is still promoted, is equivalent to exploitation of a child. There's a word for it, pornography. With Spencer Eldon firmly believing that record companies and creative personnel had trafficked his image for profit, with Spencer believing that because of this, he has continued to suffer lifelong damages as a result, saying that his identity and legal name are forever tied to the commercial, sexual exploitation he experienced as a minor, which has been distributed and sold worldwide from the time he was a baby to the present day. Also saying that defendants failed to take reasonable steps to protect him and prevent his widespread exploitation and image trafficking, with him also claiming that his parents never in writing gave permission for the photos and that they were not paid, which is a contradiction of other comments from a different article. Really gets the noggin jogging, doesn't it? Spencer Eldon's legal team say that to ensure the album cover would trigger a visceral sexual response from the viewer, Kirk Weddle activated Spencer's gag reflex before throwing him underwater in poses highlighting and emphasizing Spencer's exposed genitals, adding that as an essential element of a record promotion scheme commonly utilized in the music industry to get attention, wherein album covers posed children in a sexually provocative manner to gain notoriety, drive sales, and garner media attention and critical reviews. It is also claimed that the band had promised that a sticker would be placed on the area of the baby's genitals, but there was no sticker on the cover. So, some of the more notable names on this LOLsuit, not LOLsuit, LawSuit, this is serious, serious, doesn't matter, would include Dave Grohl, Chad Channing, the original drummer, Chris Novoselic, executor of Cobain's estate and managers Guy Oseary and Heather Parry, Kirk Weddle, the man who took the original photo, art director Robert Fisher, along with a number of record companies that released over the past 3 decades. In 2016, when he recreated the 25th anniversary photo, he gave an interview to Time magazine, and he said that it's hard not to get upset when you hear how much money was involved. When I go to a baseball game and think about it, man, everybody at this baseball game has probably seen my little baby penis. I feel like I got part of my human rights revoked, and that he had actually reached out to the band, but never received a response. This is an important detail, because it's still him recreating the image anyway, but airing a view that contradicts him being willing to do the photo in the first place. That's not to say he isn't speaking the truth, just a very interesting point of contention that will no doubt be used against him. When I went to Twitter to see how people responded to this, the vast majority criticized Spencer Elden. Now, they could just be Nirvana fan stans, sure, but there are some interesting points. The first being that Spencer Elden spent the majority of his adult life relishing the fame, and that he must be hard up for money. Another saying that a man portrayed as a big baby chasing money turns out to be, well, others pointing out that he traded on the Nirvana baby nickname all his life and was happy to recreate the image for a payout, but now wants financial redress for emotional damage, a point which I have mentioned will be used against him. Whether I agree with it or not is irrelevant, it is just a point that will be used. Others continue to point out that he did cash in on this by showing the pictures of him from various anniversary covers that he himself had done. So do I think this suit will go anywhere? No. I think the judge will open it up and more than likely say, here we are now, entertain us. And just because I know that doesn't mean I'm a fan. It means I read Twitter really well. But there is one other detail, one minor detail, that one intrepid Twitter user used to point out where the motivation may well come from, and it comes from GQ. In the past, you've said it was cool. When did that change? To which Spencer Elden said, just a few months ago, when I was reaching out to Nirvana to see if they wanted to be a part of my art show, I was getting referred to their managers and their lawyers. Why am I still on their cover if I'm not that big of a deal? Which is a quote that will also be used against him by anyone that decides to go up against him. If the judge decides, let's indulge in this for a moment. As it concerns LA, I can't say for certain. If this was in the United Kingdom, I promise you, this would have been thrown out instantly. So with this, I'm going to link some sources as a pinned comment down below. Do let me know what you think. I'm very much interested. Drive up the engagement, comment, smash the like, share the video. As a final thing, I'm going to be on Twitch tonight. If I don't see you there for more murder fun time, or me just awkwardly sat there dealing with horrific dialogue, I hope you'll have a fantastic, rest of your day, and thank you all very much for listening.